Hello, my wonderful and beautiful friends. Welcome back to our community of the entitled, where people truly believe they can do no wrong and that they are the center of the universe. This episode is going to be hilarious, guys. We've got an embarrassing Karen who thinks she's above the law, and one OP sharing the story of how their family took down an entitled Karen family. I hope you enjoy these stories, just don't shake your head too hard. And as always, you can send or link your posts to this email right here. Let's get started, shall we? Alright. Story 1. Finally, we're diving into our entitled people, where some customers think they're royalty just because they step through the door. This time, OP shares a barbershop drama that made me want to scream, "Dude, if you're drunk, go home." OP is a barber at a small shop, the kind with old leather chairs, the faint scent of hairspray, and regulars who love to chat. OP writes, "I've worked here for 4 years, love my job because I get to meet all kinds of people, but no one has ever shocked me like this guy." The main character of this drama? A guy OP refers to as D, tall, disheveled hair, staggering walk, and reeking of alcohol. OP explains, "The shop has a clear rule, no serving drunk customers, not because I'm strict, but for the safety of both the clients and the barbers." At first, OP thought D was just passing by, but no, he walked right in, turning OP's workday into a chaotic comedy that I can only describe as peak madness. Are you ready for this? Buckle up, because D is about to make you laugh and cringe at the same time. The drama begins on a peaceful afternoon at the shop. OP writes, "I was cutting hair for one of my regulars, 3 customers were waiting, everything was normal. Then, the door bursts open, and in stumbles D, looking like he just left a bar. OP continues, he yells, 'Cut my hair, now!' The strong smell of alcohol fills the shop, making my client cough. Trying to be polite, OP says, 'Sir, you're drunk. Please go home, rest, and come back tomorrow.' But D growls, 'I'm not drunk. Cut it now. I'm a customer.' OP looks at him, bloodshot eyes, wobbly stance, and thinks, yeah, right. Who are you fooling? I, for one, wanted to yell, 'Dude, if you have to argue that you're not drunk, you're definitely drunk.' OP tries to keep the peace, but D won't back down. I told him, 'We don't serve intoxicated customers. Please leave.' D slams his hand on a waiting chair, 'I'm a customer. You have to serve me.' Other customers start getting irritated. One older lady mutters, 'Kick him out, he stinks.' D hears her, spins around, and points, 'Shut up, lady. I'm handsome, I have rights.' OP writes, he stumbles and nearly falls onto the tool station, combs and scissors flying everywhere. At this point, I was laughing so hard. Bro, how are you gonna call yourself handsome when you're wobbling like a toddler? Then, things escalate. OP writes, D walks up to me, grabs a pair of scissors, and says, 'I'll cut it myself.' OP snatches them back, 'Give them here. You've caused enough trouble.' D shoves OP, 'Cut my hair or I'll trash this place.' A male customer finally stands up, 'Call security.' Without hesitation, OP calls the building security. D, still yelling, 'I'm a customer. You can't kick me out.' But security doesn't waste time. They grab D by the arm and drag him out. OP writes, he falls flat on the sidewalk, cursing up a storm before just lying there. And I'm just like, dude, actions have consequences. The drama ends on a hilarious note. OP writes, my customers and I watched through the window as D slowly got up, rubbed his head, and mumbled, 'I'll sue you,' before staggering away. A regular customer claps and says, 'Nice job handling that one.' After that, D never came back, probably too embarrassed. And honestly, I'm thinking, sue for what? Making a fool of yourself? What do you think? Was this the best customer eviction ever? Following the incident, OP's shop put up a new sign, 'No service for intoxicated customers.' Reddit's comment section blew up. Team OP, D was too entitled. If you're drunk and disruptive, you deserve to be kicked out. Team D, come on, OP could have just let him sit and sober up. What's the harm? The jokers, next time OP cuts his hair, just shave him bald. I laughed, but I'm definitely on OP's side. Dude, if you're wasted, don't harass barbers. Now, here's a wild theory for you all. Do you think D didn't even realize he was drunk? Like, maybe he drank so much he thought he was still sober? Or was he just causing a scene for attention and didn't expect to get kicked out? Either way, I think OP handled it like a pro, stood his ground, protected his shop, and didn't let D take over. But now I wonder. If D sobered up and came back to apologize, would OP have served him? Oh, and get this, OP later updated the post. A few days later, a regular told me, I saw that drunk guy passed out in the park. Guess he still hasn't sobered up. OP adds, I laughed because, honestly, I knew he wouldn't change. And I'm over here thinking, bro, if you're always wasted, who's gonna help you? So there you have it, an entitled customer saga that had me both entertained and shaking my head. A drunk guy walks into a barbershop, acts like a king, and ends up face down on the sidewalk. Who saw that coming? Are you Team OP or Team D? And have you ever dealt with an entitled, wasted customer like this? Drop your stories in the comments, I'm curious. Story 2. First, let's head over to our /entitled people, a place where the arrogance of the wealthy can be turned into comedy with just one rejection. This time, OP shares a workplace drama that made me want to scream, Mr. G, you did this to yourself. OP is an IT employee at a small company, the kind of place with old wooden desks stained with coffee rings, a server humming in a cramped corner, cables tangled like spiderwebs overhead, and the mixed scent of printer ink and toast lingering in the air. OP writes, I've been here for 3 years. The pay isn't great, but it's enough. The boss is friendly, and my coworkers are fun. We often get together for weekend info, until some guy from a big company came in and ruined everything. The main antagonist of this drama is Mr. G, a manager from a massive IT corporation, whom OP describes as around 45 years old, wearing a slightly tight, glossy suit, hair slicked back like a shampoo commercial, sunglasses indoors, a voice as loud as a megaphone, and an attitude that screams his money can buy your soul. OP recalls, Mr. G showed up, offering me a job at his company, a giant in the IT industry, famous for its shiny glass headquarters and notorious for working employees to death. OP just wanted to enjoy his current job, but Mr. G's arrogance set the stage for a rejection so satisfying that I couldn't help but admire it. This is a story about money, arrogance, and a costly lesson. Are you ready? Buckle up, because Mr. G is about to dig his own grave with his boastful mouth, and OP will have you laughing out loud. The chaos starts on a sluggish Friday afternoon at OP's tiny office. OP writes, I was sitting on the floor, covered in dust, fixing a crashed server, sweating because the rickety ceiling fan wasn't helping, when my phone rang. Unknown number. I picked up, and Mr. G's thunderous voice boomed, Hello OP, this is G from Company X. I heard you're great at IT. Come work for me, I'll pay you double. OP politely replied, Thanks, but I'm happy where I am. Mr. G let out a smug laugh. You don't get it, do you? I'm offering you more money than you've ever dreamed of. Your company is tiny, come here, and you'll upgrade your life. OP writes, I stood there, hands covered in machine oil, looking at my coworker munching on a sandwich, giggling at the conversation, and thought, all right, you wanna flex? I'll show you. I just wanted to yell, Mr. G, money doesn't buy happiness. But Mr. G wasn't ready to give up, his arrogance only grew. OP continues, the next day, I had just finished making a cup of black coffee in our messy office kitchen when Mr. G called again, now sounding more commanding, do you really think your place is better than mine? Your company is a hole in the wall. Join us, and I'll pay you triple. You'll get a car, a house, anything you want. I turned him down a second time, no thanks. I know your company works employees 80 hours a week. I don't want to die young. Mr. G snapped, you're an idiot. No one rejects my money. You don't know how to seize opportunities. OP writes, I sat down, sipped my coffee, and recalled the horrifying reviews on Glassdoor about his company. Employees called it the IT furnace, where managers screamed at staff and even sick leave got deducted from salaries. I told him, thanks, but I'd rather sleep properly. Mr. G yelled into the phone, "You'll regret this. No one says no to me." I shrugged. Probably not. Goodbye. Click. At this point, I was thinking, OP, you're a legend. Mr. G is digging his own hole. Not only did OP reject him, but he also pushed Mr. G to expose his own ridiculousness. OP writes, "The next week, I received a 3-page email from Mr. G, all bolded text, bragging about Company X's billion-dollar revenue, its 20-story headquarters, and its global clients. It ended with, 'This is your last chance, salary X4. Don't be a fool and turn it down.'" I printed the email and brought it to our tiny office meeting room, reading it aloud like a bedtime story. OP continues, "The whole team gathered, T, Lynn, and Hang. When I finished, they were laughing hysterically. T said, 'For times the pay but 24/7 work? No thanks.' Lynn added, 'Even a mansion wouldn't fix my back pain from that job.' I replied to the email, 'Thanks, Mr. G, but I prefer my 8 hours of sleep and weekend fo over counting money in my dreams.' Mr. G immediately responded, 'You don't know how to seize opportunities. Your company will go bankrupt, idiot.' OP writes, 'I showed the whole team, and Hang joked, send him a picture of our crashed server and tell him to fix it himself.' At this point, I was thrilled. OP, you just made Mr. G humiliate himself in front of everyone." The desperation disguised as arrogance reached its peak. OP writes, "A month later, I was debugging software when Mr. G called one last time, his voice raspier, 'OP, my company needs people. Come work for me, I'll pay you 5 times your salary.' I laughed. 'Aren't you tired yet?' I said no. Mr. G softened his tone but still tried to flex, 'Aren't you even tempted? I'll give you company shares.' OP writes, I put him on speaker so T could hear. T yelled, 'Who wants shares of a burning furnace?' Mr. G snapped, 'Your company is dying. This is your last chance.' I answered, 'Nope. I'm happy here. Goodbye.' Click. At this point, I was crying with laughter. OP, you made him go from arrogant to begging, and still got nothing. A few months later, OP saw karma strike. OP writes, I checked Glassdoor out of curiosity. Mr. G's company was in scandal mode, mass resignations, a lawsuit over unpaid overtime. The latest reviews read, Boss G makes false promises. Quit after 2 weeks, exhausted. Looks fancy outside, but inside is hell. I shared it with the team, and they howled. Mr. G dug his own grave. One day, my small company boss, P, took me for coffee and said, I heard Company X fired Mr. G. He's now freelancing, no one will hire him. I cheered, OP, you made Mr. G's arrogance sink him completely. OP's small company later gave a modest raise, not 5x, but enough for extra faux weekends. Boss P praised OP, you're loyal. That's what matters, we're happy here. Meanwhile, Mr. G now lectures about seizing opportunities at conferences, but no one listens. OP laughs about it with friends over bowls of pho, and the team even made a meme, Mr. G in front of his old company with the caption, you'll regret this. I love this so much. OP didn't just refuse a bad job but turned arrogance into a life lesson. What do you think? Smart move, or was Mr. G just pitiful? Have you ever rejected an arrogant job offer like this? Tell me, I'm dying to know. And next up, a story about a sister demanding to crash someone's vacation. Stay tuned. Story 3. Next up, we dive into our entitled people, a place where an uninvited guest's arrogance can turn a dream vacation into a mini battlefield. This time, OP shares a friendship drama that had me screaming, T, you really did this to yourself? OP is part of a tight-knit group of 4 friends, the kind that lounges on an old couch every weekend, eating hot pizzas straight from the box, planning trips over cheap beer at home, and laughing until their stomachs hurt reminiscing about their college shenanigans. OP writes, "We've been best friends for 5 years, and we take a trip together once a year to keep the bond strong. This time, it was a beach trip. We'd been hyped for 6 months, saving every penny to rent a villa right by the sand and feast on fresh seafood." Enter the main character of this drama, T, M's older sister. OP describes her as around 30, with messy, bleached blonde hair like she just rolled out of bed, always wearing tight outfits that don't quite fit around the waist, a screechy voice like a karaoke machine with a broken mic, and an attitude that screams the world must bow before me. OP continues, "T isn't our friend, just M's sister. But she eavesdropped on M's conversations and decided to invite herself on our trip. No one asked her, but she acted like we owed her a ticket. All OP and the group wanted was a peaceful trip, waves crashing, the smell of grilled seafood, and a cold beer in hand. But T's entitled behavior set the stage for a showdown that had me both clapping and laughing. This is a story of the beach, arrogance, and a well-served lesson. Are you ready? Buckle up, because T is about to dig her own grave, and OP will have you rolling on the floor laughing." The chaos started weeks before the trip, during a final planning session at M's place. OP recalls, "We were gathered around a scratched-up dining table, spreading out the travel maps amidst empty beer bottles, debating which villa to rent and where to get the best seafood. Suddenly, T strolled downstairs, clutching a giant bubble tea with half-melted ice, and wedged herself into the conversation. A beach trip? I'm coming too. It's been ages since I went swimming. Let me join." M was caught off guard, scratching his head awkwardly. But we're just a small group, only 4 of us." Before he could finish, T cut in, her voice louder than the creaky ceiling fan. "What's the problem? I'll pay for myself, you guys take care of the planning." "Easy." OP writes, "I looked around." Lynn's face twisted like she'd bitten a lemon, Hung shook his head like he was ready to bolt, and M just sighed. "We all thought the same thing. Fine, you want in? Let's see if you can handle it." "Me?" I wanted to scream. "T, no one invited you. Where is this confidence coming from?" T had no clue she wasn't welcome and only escalated her demands. OP continues, "The next day, T texted our group chat. No one added her, so she must have peeked at M's phone or guessed the Wi-Fi password. She declared, 'I want a villa with a pool and my own room. Book it now. I prefer pools over the ocean, it's too dirty.' Lynn shut that down immediately. We already booked a beachfront wooden house. No pool, but it's cheap and perfect for listening to the waves." T snapped back, "Wooden houses are gross and hot. Change it. I can't stay there, you guys need to accommodate me." At this point, Hung was done. He fired back, "If you don't like it, don't come. We like the wooden house." T then called M and yelled on speakerphone, loud enough for the whole group to hear, "Tell your friends to change it. I'll pay extra. They're so stingy. I'm a guest." OP writes, "M sighed so hard it could have blown out a candle. He messaged us privately, she insists on coming. I can't stop her. What's the plan?" The group jumped on Zoom and devised a genius plan. "Fine, she can come, but on our terms. She'll give up on her own." And I was just sitting there like, "OP, you're playing this cold. T is doomed." The group didn't tell T no, instead, they made it as inconvenient as possible. OP writes, "We agreed to let her come but made it tough from the start. I texted, okay, you can join. The cost is 500 KVND per day, like the rest of us. Bring your own food, and drive yourself, we're not giving you a ride." T immediately fought back, "Why should I drive? You guys have room in the car. I don't know the way." Lynn, stone cold, "Our car is packed, tents, beer coolers, Bluetooth speakers, grilling gear. Figure it out or take the bus." T then called, screaming, "You guys are stingy. I'm a guest. You should take care of me." Hung, with peak sarcasm, "A guest invites themselves. Nope, figure it out." OP writes, T still wouldn't back down. She texted, book a car for me. If not, I'll quit my job to come. The group, nope. Your problem, not ours. T then cried to M, your friends are horrible. They won't let me go. M, at this point, had given up, do whatever, sis. I'm not stopping them. And I was laughing because OP and the gang made T struggle without lifting a finger. Then came the trip day. OP writes, we agreed to meet at 6 a.m. at a roadside cafe. The air smelled of fresh coffee and exhaust fumes from passing buses. T showed up late at 7 a.m., dragging a massive suitcase, wearing tight clothes, tiny shorts, and towering heels. She whined immediately, why didn't you wait? I overslept. Me, reading, T, that's a you problem. OP replied coldly, we said 6 a.m. Not our fault. T boarded the group's rented bus, not the fancy private car she expected, and had to squeeze between camping gear and a rolling beer cooler. She whined, this is too cramped and hot. Why didn't you book a better ride? Lynn smirked, we like it. If you don't, go home. The road is still open. Then at the beach, the group grilled seafood, plump lobsters, juicy squid, cold beers under the moonlight. T, standing aside taking selfies, demanded, give me some grilled shrimp. I don't eat crab. Hung through her a burnt crab leg, cook your own. We're not your servants. T finally snapped, you guys are the worst. I'm leaving. She then dragged her giant suitcase under the blazing noon sun, waved down a taxi, and took off, while the group died laughing. Later, she ranted to M, your friends are cheap. I'm never hanging out with them again. M? Great. Less drama for us. And the group? They had the best trip ever, swimming, drinking, laughing, never mentioning T again, except to meme her. M even reported later, she tried to crash another trip but got abandoned halfway. Had to take a motorbike taxi home. I just sat there thinking, OP, you didn't just win, you created a legacy. And you? Are you Team OP or Team T? Ever dealt with someone this entitled? Story 4. Next up, we dive into our entitled people, where the absurdity of a single customer can turn an ordinary workday into an endless comedy show. This time, OP shares a retail drama that made me want to scream, see, you did this to yourself. OP works at a small electronics store, the kind of place with shelves packed with headphones, Bluetooth speakers, colorful charging cables, the faint scent of fresh plastic in the air, and the constant ting-ting of the cash register mixed with customers mumbling over their choices. OP writes, I've been working here for over 2 years. The job is fine, most customers are decent, until one guy walked in and turned my shift into a dark comedy. The star of this drama is C, an entitled customer whom OP describes as around 35, wearing a faded gray t-shirt, hair a mess like he just rolled out of bed, voice blaring like a broken speaker, and an attitude like he owned the store. OP says, C came in to buy a Bluetooth speaker, then returned demanding a refund for a reason no one could have seen coming, and I decided to teach him a little lesson about responsibility. OP just wanted a peaceful shift, but C's ridiculousness led to an interaction that had me laughing and clapping. This is a story of a broken speaker, arrogance, and a sweet dose of karma. Are you ready? Buckle up, because C is about to dig his own grave with his entitlement, and OP will make sure it's hilarious. The drama unfolds on a busy Saturday afternoon at the store. OP writes, I was behind the counter, sorting through a tangled mess of charging cables, when C walked in holding the Bluetooth speaker he'd bought the day before. The box was torn to shreds, the speaker had a dented corner, and the charging cable was hanging out like it had been yanked too hard. He slammed it on the counter and yelled, you guys sell trash. I want a refund. OP was stunned and asked, how did it break? C bellowed, I dropped it from my desk, and it broke immediately. Cheap junk. Give me my money back. OP writes, I stood there, looking at the battered speaker, listening to him rant, and just wanted to laugh, thinking, dude, you break it, you buy it. I wanted to scream, C, how do you expect a refund when you broke it? The drama escalated when C refused to take responsibility and made an even bigger scene. OP recounts, I calmly explained, if you dropped it, we can't refund it. Store policy only covers manufacturing defects. C cut me off, his voice drowning out the store's background music. I don't care about your policy. Your products are garbage. I'm the customer, I have rights. I pointed at the speaker. But you broke it. He screamed, if it was high quality, it wouldn't break. Refund me now, or I'll sue. OP writes, other customers started turning their heads. One lady muttered, why is he yelling? I kept my cool, thinking, alright, if you want to go all out, let's do this. And OP did take it up a notch, making C expose his own absurdity. OP says, I pulled out the store policy, an old, taped-up piece of paper behind the counter, and read aloud, no refunds for items damaged by customers. C snapped, get me the manager. You can't refuse me. I called Q, my manager, from the back. She walked out, still holding a roll of packing tape, and asked, what's with the shouting? C jabbed a finger at me, this guy won't refund me. Your products are trash. Q looked at the speaker and asked, you dropped it? C nodded. Yeah, but a good product wouldn't break. Q smirked, did you drop it from the 10th floor? This speaker can only take so much. You break it, you deal with it. OP writes, C turned red and shouted, I'll record this and expose you all. I stayed unfazed, go ahead. We have security cameras that recorded you slamming the speaker on the counter just now. The other customers chuckled, and one young guy even added, make sure to post it on TikTok for the laughs. At the peak of the drama, C tried to blow things up but only humiliated himself. OP says, C actually pulled out his phone, started recording, and screamed, this store is a scam. They won't refund broken items. Everyone, don't shop here. Q cut in, make sure to tell them you broke it, don't edit that part out. C turned to me, you dare challenge me? And then, slam, he smashed the speaker on the floor again. This time, it shattered completely, plastic shards flying across the counter. The whole store gasped, and one older man shouted, are you insane? You just wrecked it even more. OP writes, I picked up a broken piece and told him, well, now that you broke it twice, there's definitely no refund. Q added, go ahead and sue, we have camera footage of both times you destroyed it. C froze. The crowd started booing, just leave already. I was dying of laughter, OP, you made him self-destruct in front of everyone. The drama wrapped up with a hilariously satisfying ending. OP writes, C grumbled a few curses, picked up the broken speaker parts, and stormed out, with not a penny refunded. Q turned to me and said, customers like that? Let them expose their own stupidity. No need to argue. OP adds, after that, we put up a giant sign behind the counter, break it yourself? No refund. Regular customers started calling C Speaker Smasher, and every time someone brought him up, we'd all crack up. A while later, OP saw C walk past the store, glance inside, and then hurry away, probably embarrassed. I applauded, OP, you didn't just win, you turned him into a legend. And here's a hilarious side note from OP's update, a few weeks later, C actually came back, this time to buy a charging cable. But he was dead silent, paid, and left immediately. I couldn't help myself, I asked, this cable won't break if you drop it, right? C turned bright red, muttered, I won't drop it, and bolted. Another time, Q mentioned, now, whenever someone starts yelling, regular customers go, don't be another speaker smasher. I thought, C, you lost to the entire store. So, what do you think? Was OP brilliantly strategic, or was C just pitiful? Have you ever dealt with a customer this ridiculous? That's it, OP's story is a chef's kiss example of entitled people turning themselves into a joke. A customer breaks his own item, demands a refund, and ends up making himself the store's laughingstock. Who could have seen that coming? Are you on OP's side or C's? Got any retail horror stories of your own? Drop them in the comments, I'm all ears. That's all for now, thanks for reading, and see you next time. Story 5. Next up, we have a tale from entitled people, where an uninvited guest's arrogance can turn a dream vacation into a mini battlefield. This time, OP shares a friendship drama that had me yelling, "Sister T, you did this to yourself." OP is part of a close-knit group of 4 friends, the kind who spend weekends sprawled on an old couch, eating hot pizzas straight from the box, planning trips meticulously over cheap beer nights at home, and laughing until their stomachs hurt reminiscing about dumb college memories. OP writes, "We've been best friends for 5 years, and we take a trip every year to keep our bond strong. This time, it's a beach trip. We've been excited for 6 months, saving every penny to rent a villa right by the shore and feast on fresh seafood." Enter the main character of the drama, Sister T, M's older sister. OP describes her as around 30 years old, with messy bleached blonde hair like she just rolled out of bed, always wearing tight clothes that are a little too snug around the waist, a screechy voice like bad karaoke through a broken mic, and an attitude that makes it seem like the world owes her everything. OP continues, "Sister T isn't our friend, she's just M's sister. But she overheard our beach plans through M and decided to invite herself, acting like we owed her a spot. We just wanted a peaceful getaway, the sound of the waves, the smell of grilled seafood, and a cold beer in hand, but her entitlement forced us to take action in a way that had me laughing and clapping. This is a story about the beach, arrogance, and a well-deserved lesson. Are you ready? Buckle up, because Sister T is about to learn the hard way." The drama kicked off a few weeks before the trip during a casual meetup at M's place to finalize plans. OP recalls, "We were gathered around an old, scratched-up dining table, maps spread out among empty beer bottles, discussing which villa to rent and which seafood restaurant to hit, when Sister T suddenly appeared, holding a giant cup of bubble tea, ice melting inside, and barged in. 'Oh, you guys are going to the beach? I'm coming too. It's been ages since I swam. Let me tag along.' M was caught off guard, scratching his head awkwardly. But we're keeping it small, just the 4 of us." Sister T cut him off instantly, her voice high-pitched over the creaking ceiling fan. "Oh, come on. I'll pay my share. You guys can take care of me, it's easy." OP writes, "I looked at the group, Lynn's face twisted like she'd just bitten into a lemon, Hung shook his head as if he wanted to run, and M let out a long sigh. We all thought, all right, if she insists on crashing, we'll let her, but not without making her regret it. I wanted to scream, Sister T, no one invited you. How are you so confident? Sister T didn't get the hint that she wasn't welcome. Instead, her demands escalated to absurd levels. OP continues. The next day, she messaged our group chat, none of us added her, so she must have seen the Wi-Fi password or something, and declared, I want a villa with a pool and my own room. Book it, I don't like swimming in the ocean, it's dirty. Lynn, cold as ice, replied. We've already booked a beachside cabin. No pool. It's cheap and convenient. We like hearing the waves. Sister T snapped back. Cabins suck. It's hot and cramped. Change it, I can't stay there. You guys need to accommodate me. Hung, clearly fed up, responded. If you don't like it, don't come. We love the cabin. What else do you want? Sister T immediately called M, screaming over the speakerphone so the whole group could hear. Tell your friends to change it. I'll pay extra. They're so stingy. I'm a guest. OP writes. M sighed deeply and told us in our private chat, she won't stop. I can't stop her. What do we do? So, the group came up with a plan. Let her come, but on our terms. Let's see how long she lasts. I thought, OP, you're ruthless. Sister T is doomed. OP describes how they made sure Sister T felt out of place. We told her she had to contribute $20 per day like the rest of us, arrange her own transport, and bring her own food. We wouldn't drive her. Sister T argued, her shrill voice echoing through voice messages. Why should I drive? You have room in your cars. I don't know the way. Lynn, deadpan. Our cars are packed, tents, beer coolers, Bluetooth speakers, grills. Find your own ride or take a bus. Sister T called M in tears. Your friends are horrible. They won't let me come. Tell them to take care of me. M shrugged, she's mad, but whatever. I chuckled, OP, you're making her drown without lifting a finger, brilliant. On departure day, the group met at 6 a.m. at a roadside cafe. The air smelled of fresh coffee and gasoline from passing buses. At 7 a.m., Sister T finally arrived, dragging a massive suitcase, wearing tight clothes, super short shorts, and towering heels. Why didn't you wait for me? I overslept, she whined. Op. We told you 6 a.m. We're not your alarm clock. She climbed into the rental bus, expecting a luxury car, but found herself squashed between camping gear and rolling beer cans. Ugh, this is so cramped and hot. Why didn't you get a better vehicle? I can't stand this. Lynn smirked. It's cheap, we like it. If you can't stand it, you can go home. The road is long. At the beach, the group grilled seafood under the stars, lobster, fresh squid, and ice-cold beer. Sister T sulked, taking selfies. Give me grilled shrimp. I don't eat crab. Take care of me, I'm hungry, she demanded. Hung tossed her a burnt crab leg. Grill it yourself. We're not your servants. She shrieked. You guys are awful. I'm leaving. Dragging her suitcase, she stormed off under the blazing sun, hailing a taxi while the group burst into laughter. Later, M reported. She's furious, says she's never talking to you guys again. The group celebrated. Best trip ever. Sister T later posted a beach photo with new friends, captioning, went with better people, unlike those stingy losers. The whole group commented. Congrats on being independent. Bring shrimp next time. She blocked them all. OP concludes. After that, she became a running joke. And M always warns us, never let her know our plans. And that's how the group defeated the Queen of Crashing. So, are you Team OP or Team Sister T? Ever dealt with someone like this? Share your stories, I'm curious. If you missed the last episode on the channel, it was all about malicious compliance, where bad bosses got what they deserved. Check it out if you haven't seen it, and I'll see you in the next episode. We love you all.